You know that feeling when someone says fine, but it's clearly not fine. Something is happening there, and it's not an accident. So why do some people communicate like that, and what do you actually do about it?
Why are some people passive aggressive?
Okay, think about it from their side for a second. If you say what you actually feel, what happens? What if the other person gets angry? What if they push back hard and now you look like the problem? What if speaking up means getting punished for it later? Because that happens, right? That absolutely happens. So instead of saying it directly, you kind of leak it. A little sarcasm here, a forgotten task there, a compliment that's not quite a compliment. And the thing is, you can always say you didn't mean it that way. That's the safety net. I don't know, it's like honesty feels like standing in an open field during a lightning storm. So people stay undercover. Indirect, deniable, especially if they've been in situations before where speaking up just made everything worse. The risk feels too high, so they find another way to push back without fully exposing themselves.
Why are some people passive aggressive?
Oh, sweetheart, I think at the heart of it, most people just want to feel close to the ones around them. They really do. But sometimes something happens, a disappointment, a hurt feeling, something that stings, and they don't know how to bring it up without it turning into a whole thing. Because what if the other person pulls away? What if raising it makes them seem difficult or needy or just too much? And in so many families, so many friend groups, so many workplaces, we've all quietly agreed that keeping the peace matters more than saying the hard thing. So what does someone do with that resentment? They find a way to let it out sideways. A little dig here, a cold shoulder there. Not enough to cause a scene, but just enough to signal that something is off. It's not ideal, dear, not by a long shot. But for a lot of people, it feels like the only way to stay connected and still be honest at the same time.
Why are some people passive aggressive?
Here's the thing, champ. Admitting you're hurt? That's a vulnerable position. Admitting you're jealous? Even worse. Nobody wants to look small. Nobody wants to sit across from someone and say, "You got to me." That's exposure. That's weakness. So instead, indirect. A little jab, a backhanded comment, sounds casual, keeps the image clean. And here's the smart part. If someone calls it out, they just say, "I was joking." Now you look oversensitive. They walk away looking composed. You look reactive. That's a win for them. They protected the image, stayed in control of how they're perceived, never had to admit the real emotion, never had to own it. That's the whole game, champ. It's not really about what they said. It's about never letting the other person see what got under their skin. Pride does that to people.
Why are some people passive aggressive?
I have thought about this carefully. When a person's preferences are not respected, they have essentially lost a degree of influence over their situation. The logical response would be to negotiate directly. However, many people do not do that. Instead, they introduce friction into the system. They delay tasks, they do the minimum required and no more. They allow errors to occur that could have been prevented. They withhold cooperation in ways that are difficult to prove intentional. The result is that the environment becomes uncomfortable enough that other people change course. It is, in a precise sense, control achieved through obstruction rather than communication. I find this approach inefficient. It creates unnecessary disorder and unpredictability. But I do understand the internal logic. If someone does not believe direct communication will work, they will find another mechanism to restore their preferred level of order.
How do you deal with someone being passive aggressive towards you?
Yes, well, the most rational approach is to treat it as a communication failure rather than a personal assault, which it rather is. So the first step is to stop engaging with the hint and instead ask for something concrete. Something like, "I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. Are you referring to such and such specifically? Or, what outcome would you prefer here?" Because vague signals cannot be productively addressed. You need specifics. Now, if they continue to deflect, you name the observable behavior and its effect on you without attributing motive. The tone, the delay, the comment. And then you move forward based on facts, not inference. In a workplace context particularly, document agreements confirm things in writing. Do not build decisions around what you think someone implied. Put simply, stop playing the guessing game and insist calmly on actual words.
How do you deal with someone being passive aggressive towards you?
Oh, baby, listen to me. You do not fight sideways with sideways. That is how you end up in a whole mess that nobody can even explain by the end of it. What you do is you bring it out into the open, gently but clearly. You say something like, "When I hear that, I feel put down. And if something is bothering you, I would so much rather you just tell me directly." That is it. You ain't attacking them. You are opening a door. And then, honey, you model it. You keep your tone clean. You do not get sarcastic back just because they were sarcastic first. Because that just teaches them that this is how we talk to each other now. If they actually open up, you listen. You say, "I hear you. I understand why that felt bad," and then you ask for the real request, the straight one. Not the dig, sweetheart. The actual thing they needed to say all along.
How do you deal with someone being passive-aggressive towards you?
Okay, so here's the thing that worries me most about this situation. If you push too hard for clarity and the other person escalates or starts twisting things or tries to make you look like the unreasonable one, that is when it gets genuinely risky. So, I don't know, sometimes the right move is not to chase the conversation in that moment. Just step back, say something like, "I am going to take a moment, we can talk when things feel calmer." And then you actually step away. And going forward, limit what you share with them. Keep things in writing where you can. Choose situations where other people are present if you need to interact. And if this is a pattern, if it keeps happening, especially where there is a power gap, please do not try to handle it alone. A manager, someone from HR, a mediator. I don't know, sometimes bringing someone else in is just a safer, smarter move. Protect yourself first.
How do you deal with someone being passive-aggressive towards you?
Oh dear, before anything else, I think we have to ask ourselves whether we might have missed something. Sometimes people go sideways because they have been trying to say something for a while and nobody heard them. So it can be worth gently checking in. Something like, "Have I let you down somewhere? Did I miss something that mattered to you?" Because sometimes that alone, just being asked, helps someone soften enough to actually talk. And then, sweetheart, we try to build something together. A shared understanding of how we want to raise things between us. Not digs, not cold shoulders, but real, direct conversations. We agree on that. We agree on how quickly we try to address tension when it comes up and how we come back to each other after, because the goal is not to win the moment. The goal is to protect the relationship. And that takes both people agreeing that honesty, done kindly, is something we can handle together.
My child, when someone cannot say the true thing plainly, it is rarely because they do not feel it. They feel it deeply. But somewhere along the way, they learn that saying it directly came at a cost too high to pay. So the feeling travels sideways, through a sharpened word, a forgotten task, a smile that does not quite reach the eyes. It is the river that cannot flow forward, finding its way around every stone. Understanding why someone moves that way does not mean you must follow them into those waters. You can meet their hidden feeling with a quiet, clear invitation. You can name what you see without dismantling who they are. And if they choose to step toward honesty, you make that easier. But if the pattern becomes something that pulls you under, then compassion and self-protection are not opposites, my child. You can hold both. The gentlest thing you can offer someone is the truth that indirect roads are longer for everyone traveling them.
If you made it this far, you're gonna want to see what comes next. Hit subscribe so you don't miss our next video, and click the video on screen now to keep learning more. See you in the next video.